Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special bonus episode of Beer, Blues, and BS. We decided that WrestleMania was so big that, you know what, it deserved its own little special show. And so I'm here, Howard Blues, your host, joined, of course, by the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder.
Bonus!
Yeah, so exactly. So one of the things that we did in a past episode was we made our predictions for WrestleMania. We're actually going to cut it from that episode. We're going to show you those as part of this episode. So we're going to cut to that, and then we'll come back, and Kidder and I will break down our take on WrestleMania, along with some news that's been going on with that. So, hey, past Howard, this is future Howard saying, what were those predictions? All right, Kidder,
no,
here we go.
Up to you.
First match of the evening of this night one. Supposedly, I'm sure they'll mess this up and change the order on him. But anyway, Natalya and Tamina versus Naomi and Lena versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus the Riot Squad. Who do you got?
Well, let's see. Again, we kind of glazed over this, and I mean, I could see them making this kind of a big deal. A lot of the favorites, I think, are Naomi and Lana, especially Naomi being from Orlando, so Florida. Lana maybe getting a little bit of a thank you push as for how much they have punished her over the past year. But, I mean, the Riot Squad have been good, but kind of hanging out in the back. I would like to choose them, but I think I will go with Mandy and Dana Brooke. They've been doing a lot of developmental work, so that will be my pick for night one.
I'm going with the Riot Squad because I like Ruby Riott. I think she's a tremendous wrestler who unfortunately has not been given the chance she's got. So if I have to watch any of these teams for 2 nights in a row, that's who I'd like to see a second time. All right, that brings us to the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos.
Is this really a thing? I mean, okay, AJ Styles and WrestleMania. Great. The New Day as champions, see them at WrestleMania. Yeah, I'd rather see Kofi at Royal Rumble. Of course, this year, the first Rumble he's missed in 11 years or 12 years, whatever it was, due to, I think, an injury or injury protocol. But with this one, I'll pick the New Day.
All right. I went with AJ and Omos because they have made Omos this unbeatable giant. So, yeah, I just think it's going to be them.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That brings us to Seth Rollins versus Cesaro.
In my watching of this, number one, interest is almost zero. They've had some decent promos. Of course, seeing Seth Rollins get spun around in the Cesaro swing several times, and of course, pissing off Seth Rollins. I will say Cesaro. The Swiss Cyborg picks up the victory in this one because it's been a while since he's had, I would say, a big event win.
I too went with Cesaro, mostly because I just like to see them actually do something with him. This is a guy who's had the crowd behind him on several occasions, and they just refuse to pull the trigger on him. And unfortunately, it's because they look at it and go, "Oh, your English isn't good enough. You can't do promos." I don't care. He's got personality. He's got charisma. People absolutely adore him. They've been wanting him to have this push. I'd say give it to him.
And we cheered the hell out of him when he was here in Bismarck a couple times. I mean, he was awesome to watch live. It was fantastic. And, of course, I've seen him at Royal Rumble in 2019 already. So it's crazy to think that was 2 years ago. And then also at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. is awesome. Fantastic. So I don't quite see, even if it is the English in him as to why they're not giving him a push or something like that. I think that's a crap explanation. On top of it, the dude can speak like 12 languages, so give him a freaking title that means something other than the US title or the Intercontinental title. Not that they don't mean anything, but he is not a 2-year veteran of the main roster at this point. He has paid his dues. He's been a tag title champion, a very interesting one with Sheamus, which, going back to that, wish they hadn't broken those two up, where they could still be together, because that was hilarious. They're them fighting and beating the holy hell out of each other, and then, hey, we should tag together and beat everybody else. Why not? This is great. So that's my reasoning. That's my 2 cents on that. Who do you got next? Shane O'Mac and the Strowman train.
Yep.
And Shane McMahon called me stupid. Me beat Shane McMahon. Strowman.
All right. I actually
you went with the dollar spaghetti arms for the win.
Yeah. Because in no world ever would I think Shane McMahon can beat Braun Strowman, but he is the face. People, you're going to see Shane do some crazy stuff. He's going to dive off the cage, but in the end, he's going to win because he's the face and people like Shane O'Mac. So,
yeah. I can see that.
That brings us to
see how it turns out.
Yeah, that brings us to Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and Morrison.
This is absolute garbage. If I have to take a dump by this time, I will certainly get up and drop a Bad Bunny, because that's what I think this match really is. Just like his hit song about Booker T. I think it's dumb. So reluctantly, I will pick Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, especially because he won a Grammy. So I feel WWE is trying to make this a big match. I will go with those two over Miz Morrison.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's going to be Bad Bunny because he's the celebrity. The celebrity always wins, which is sad because Damian Priest had a really good outing at the Royal Rumble. Miz and Morrison, always entertaining, whether face or heels. You have 3 really great talents in there. And unfortunately, it's going to come down to Bad Bunny pinning probably The Miz.
Did you also see them paint his
Sasha
Bugatti?
Banks.
Probably not, right? You didn't get to see that?
I didn't, but I heard about it.
Well, I'm guessing that you're going to be able to see that in the highlights during WrestleMania night. We're still on night 1. This was night 1. So you'll get to see that in the highlights of night 1.
Highlights.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair.
I think that they've done too much of this to try and I don't know. They've really pushed Bianca Belair, in my opinion. She's got a lot of talent, so don't get me wrong. I feel she's going to end up winning the title over Sasha Banks, and I think this will be the first time that Sasha actually loses the title without having it stripped from her due to a medical injury. So I hope that it's a good match. They do some pretty good spots. Obviously, Sasha Banks thinks that she's going to put on a clinic during the old match, but both of them could do a pretty good job. So I will go with the hair that doesn't stop.
Yeah, I also have Belair for this one. I think that they've just done so much to push her. I think they're gonna give it to her. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre.
You know what? This one, I really think that that it could be either. Number one, I feel that it could be going back to McIntyre because of how it's been built up. The feud is there between the two of them, although I feel, again, like you mentioned earlier, McIntyre has had other more interesting feuds, such as Sheamus. But with Bobby Lashley, I could also see WWE having him keep it because of how they basically split up the Hurt Business with Shelton Benjamin and why can't I think of his name right now?
Cedric Alexander.
Yes, thank you. The two of them obviously were split by Vincent Kennedy McMahon for whatever reason. Oh, right, because he doesn't like good storylines half the time. No, he doesn't like factions.
He doesn't like factions.
As we've discussed on this show before. So it's really, I don't want to say it's like a 50-50 in my head because I feel that Drew McIntyre is and should be the champion. I don't feel Bobby Lashley is championship material. I think MVP is more championship material than Bobby Lashley, partially because Bobby Lashley is terrible on microphone. But I will go with McIntyre.
Yep, I also have McIntyre. I think they're gonna happy ending. Let them leave happy.
Yeah.
Hogan must pose. Yeah.
Hogan will be there.
Yep. All right, that brings us to night 2. We have Matt Riddle versus Sheamus.
Again, as we discussed earlier, thinking that this is kind of a bone being thrown to Sheamus as part of not letting he and Drew McIntyre work together or have as good of a show of some sort as they could. So I will have to say that Riddle will retain, as much as I don't want to care.
Yep, I'm the same. Let's see, Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler versus the winner of that tag team turmoil match on night 1.
Again, this might be another bathroom break match, as discussed before. I feel that the winner of night 1 will be the team who can grab the titles and get that victory. I'm over Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I've discussed this before of how we really don't like Nia Jax, and her abilities as a wrestler are minimal. Her ability to hurt everybody else is like the best thing that she can do. Just, I don't like her on the mic. I don't like her wrestling. It is what it is. So I'll pick the winners of night 1.
Okay. Yeah, I also went with my my winners of night 1. And that's a shame. I do like Shayna Baszler, and shout out to her because, she's from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm originally from South Dakota, so it's always kind of fun to cheer for. I mean, she's not the hometown, but home state wrestler. Unfortunately, she's been partnered with Nia Jax, and it just hasn't been a great partnership. And just I'm ready for
right,
the titles to change.
And even though she's from the inferior Dakota, I still feel that she is a lot better of a wrestler than Nia Jax. I mean, by miles. Plus, she could legitimately break somebody in half. So I think she has a lot of talent, kind of like Ronda Rousey, because they're both in the same sort of MMA and WWE mesh world, if you will. So I hope Shayna Baszler can get out from underneath the Nia Jax whole storyline that they have going on, do her own thing, and actually be a champion of sorts, like a women's champion that she deserves. That's what I feel.
Yep. Okay, the match that has the potential to steal the show until it has its ending: Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn with Logan Paul.
As you know, I am a big KO fan. Okay, maybe you didn't know that, but I know you give me the thumbs up, so maybe you did know that. I don't know if since you didn't have any audio there, I don't know if people could actually see you giving thumbs ups. And now he's raising the eyebrows. Listen here, son. If you're gonna raise eyebrows at me, don't make me come over there because Tuscan says so. That's a whole other thing, as we've talked about in DWF and Howard the ref and his ability or lack thereof to count the 1, 2, 3. KO. I've been a big fan of his since he showed up on the main roster, beating John Cena. Why not? Very good. And then, like we discussed earlier, great matches with Sami Zayn, and frankly, had a lot of fun watching Sami Zayn when he was again in town, or in the Grand Forks show that I went to. Very good. I will have to go with KO for the 1, 2, 3 in that. I think there's going to be some kind of funny business going on, especially with, a celebrity there. Some kind of stupidity. But I believe KO will get the 1, 2, 3, and then Sami Zayn will be able to continue his conspiracy as to, why he is losing and is a loser and whatever they say that is.
Yeah, I have it as Zayn winning, just again because of my prediction of screwiness. I would like KO to win. He's been on a losing streak because he's been feuding with Reigns. So I'd like to see him have that big win, but I think it's going to be Zayn and shenanigans.
And with that brings us, just because you brought it up, I have to mention those have been some fantastic matches. And I understand that they built this big thing and Roman Reigns is the face of the company and, whatever. But KO should have rightfully won those. And had I not wanted to, actually try and get points for this little prediction game that we play, I definitely would have picked KO for who I would like to see those matches, because frankly, as tough as they're trying to make Roman Reigns right now as the head of the table and like a CEO or whatever. Oh wait, that's the Hurt Business. And whatever they're trying to do with him, frankly, I'm bored with it now. He's just there. It's kind of like the Lesnar thing for a while. Okay, like, yep, he showed up and he beat the snot out of anybody else around, and then he just shows up. Paul Heyman talks a while, and then they leave. It's literally a different Brock Lesnar. I mean, like that's how I feel. So, KO.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to Big E versus Apollo Crews.
Now, this one, I could see a couple things. I could see Apollo Crews winning it to continue the Nigerian Prince storyline that they're trying to, or royalty, sorry, his new life as the royalty gimmick. He looks really good, but the accent, not good. And why do you suddenly talk like that? I mean, okay, whatever. I would like to see Big E continue to retain and hopefully roundabout way get him back somehow with the New Day. And obviously, like we talked about before, it doesn't have to be on the same show, but they show up at pay-per-views and whatever, like, hey, what's up? You don't forget about people who you feel like are family. I mean, if you're bros, you're bros. So I still think that's something where he and the New Day are still a tag team. WWE doesn't see it that way. However, I do. I think Howie does as well. Big E retaining the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, the only reason I see to take it off of Big E would be if you're going to move him up into the main event picture. And I kind of feel like for WWE, it's kind of crowded. at this point. So I don't see that happening. So I think Big E is going to retain. That brings us to The Fiend versus Randy Orton.
Should I say that you should pick my pick for me because you already know what I'm going to pick? Or that we have to suffer through this together? Eh.
Go ahead, make your pick.
Okay, I don't even want to say it that way. This whole thing is again the storytelling, the need for the setup. Randy Orton doing some of the best work that he has ever done in WWE. Why is he cornered with the Fiend in a lose-lose situation? I don't know. You can't even have him lose in this because then it takes some credibility almost away from him. It takes his momentum, right? So I'm looking at my cheat sheet monitor over here so that I actually remember what the frick this match is. But I will go with the Fiend because betting against the Fiend at Mania, I mean, you just can't. He's the unstoppable force, and he's going to burn everybody alive. I mean, we get to see Alexa Bliss, so there's that. But I don't know. Just Bray Wyatt in this whole thing, and is it a finalization of what Randy Orton has done to Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, and even going way back to the Nexus days? I don't know. Don't feel it's really necessary, especially with the Firefly Funhouse stuff. So I'll still go with the Fiend.
Yeah, I have the Fiend 2 winning this, which is sad. I think you look back at this time last year, Orton was about to kick off well, it actually was in the middle of a very successful run of feuding with Edge. You know, they had a
WrestleMania match. It was what, an I Quit match, right?
Last Man Standing.
Okay,
that was a phenomenal match. Then they had the greatest wrestling match ever. That was what the WWE labeled it. It was still a really good match. Don't get me wrong on there. The feuding with them at the Rumble, you just you feel like that storyline was better. You know, I wanted to see those guys at Mania. That would have been, to me, the better match. Unfortunately, as he's in with the Fiend. Also, can I just say, from two guys who had a match where literally the Fiend was burnt to a crisp in an Inferno match, this time around they are having a wrestling match. No stipulations, no DQ. You know, it's not a no DQ. It's not a last man standing. It's not a no holds barred. It's just a wrestling match. WWE has done this a couple of times just to slow us down. We're almost done, but where they have thrown
more than a
big match. Yeah, they throw the big stipulation match first, and then it comes down to just a match as the blow off. And I don't know why they do it that way. It just never really works. So that's my one kind of real complaint about this is just a match. And I have a feeling, even though they say it's just a wrestling match, this is going to be some sort of weird cinematic match that they'll work out somehow.
Yeah. And I think along the same lines that you do. And of course it is pretty stupid how they end up doing that. They've beaten the hell out of each other for the past 12 months, and they've been through a street fight, an unsanctioned match. They've been through a cage match, a Hell in a Cell match, an Inferno match. They've been through a lumberjack match. They were in a tag team match. They were in a triple threat match. They beat the crap out of each other. They were in an Irish 30-second street fight match, an ambulance match, a casket match. This will all be settled at WrestleMania in a standard wrestling match, because there is no greater match in the WWE than a standard wrestling match. Awesome.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to Asuka versus Rhea Ripley.
Again, as we touched on earlier, the heel, not a heel. I feel Asuka has been carrying the title for too long. I don't feel that she has had any bad defenses, but her personality, not even personality. I don't have any qualms with her personality, but it's just really, I think, again, WWE's booking of, it's gotten to that point where it is now boring. It's not like when Becky Lynch was there and I was really vested in the Becky Lynch, the man character. She comes out, she's the like woman version of Stone Cold. She comes out, kicks some ass, she's spouting her mouth, and she can back it up. Bam, she's a champion, and then, well, she got pregnant, and now she gives up the title to Asuka, and here we are again. So, essentially, Rhea Ripley, great contender. I haven't watched many matches with her, but the Women's Royal Rumble, where she has twice appeared, and some very good content there. I will pick Rhea Ripley because I believe that it sets something up with Charlotte Flair. I also believe that Becky Lynch will be returning, which I believe is one of our bonus questions. Will Becky Lynch return? Yes or no, or appear? I believe that this would be a good event for Becky to return. I also believe that they need an extra shot of publicity and to really make it interesting because of the fight between Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. I believe Ronda Rousey will also appear in this. So there's that. Rhea Ripley wins, and then there's some good old trash talking that happens afterward.
Okay. So, yeah, on the bonus questions, I'm a yes and a no. I think Becky Lynch could return. I'm not so sure about Ronda Rousey. As for Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, I have Ripley. I still like Asuka. To me, this is the coin flip match. I'm kind of happy with either one winning. They're both tremendous talents. To correct you, though, Kidder, Rhea Ripley has only been in the Women's Royal Rumble once.
I thought she was in the other one as well. Or two now.
That was the one that, this was, I think, the third Royal Rumble. Women's Royal Rumble was this year. Rhea Ripley was in NXT, wasn't involved in that one. The second one, Charlotte Flair won and challenged Rhea Ripley, who was the NXT champion.
Right.
WrestleMania.
Last year.
Yeah. Right. And then this year was Rhea Ripley's first appearance in the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
So
fair enough. Well,
only
thanks.
been in there once. Yeah, I choose her. Just I have a feeling again. Yeah, because I have something with Charlotte. It just changes it up. I think that they're kind of tired with Asuka. I mean, if you think about it, Asuka really hasn't appeared on the last few pay-per-views, and that's never good when your women's champion isn't really showing up, which is sad. They had a pretty good run with her. I know they even had her fill in one night as a challenger on short notice. So it really had a tremendous run this year. I'd love to see it continue, but I think WWE is ready to move it. And so I think that's going to happen. All right. Our last match, our last prediction. It's the big triple threat. Reigns, Edge, Daniel Bryan. Who's walking away with the title, Kidder?
Well, you built it up so well, and so I feel like I need to answer, but I also feel like I need to suggest my suggestion for your pick for the women's match.
Oh.
I know you can see it.
You know what? I'm just gonna give myself a point now for episode 1 where I called that we would be reusing this app for future decisions.
It's true. This is how I did my NCAA bracket, by the way. I did my March Madness bracket entirely with the coin flip app. I started on the left column, went top to bottom, and then filled it out for the winners from there, and then started on the right side, and then continued in until it got to the champions. Top was heads, tails was bottom. I think I finished second to last. But I had a good run. I don't know. They never told me the win. But so who would you like to be heads? Asuka, since she is the current champion?
Sure, Asuka can be heads.
All right. So just for the shenanigans, as it were, here is the old coin flip. And that is a tails. So the app is also saying Rhea Ripley wins the Raw Women's Championship. So there you go. Does that help solidify your answers?
Well, we'll go with it. All right. So the triple threat. What do you got?
Big winner. You know what? I feel, again, done with Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan, I feel he deserves another championship run because he had some very, very good runs as champion. I was present WrestleMania 30 when he won both the WWE and the old school World Heavyweight title. I almost forgot what it was because it's been that long ago since they changed it to the Universal title. But I do feel that he would be good. So I would love for Edge to be the big winner. I'm going to go with Edge for this because my thought, they can, as in Daniel Bryan and Edge can then feud for it for a while. Originally, I was hoping that Edge and Christian would feud for a while. We talked about that on some of the previous episodes with Christian going to AEW. So, well, it may not be a popular gamut of a choice. I'll run with Edge.
Well, for your pick, Kidder, I just have to say,
I know that you're a Daniel Bryan guy. I know. They can't even see you right now. Okay, now that you say it.
Yes. Yeah, I got Daniel Bryan the whole way. I don't know if that makes sense in storyline. I'm gonna pick it. I had to sacrifice my Owens pick because of shenanigans, so I'm gonna pick Bryan because, yeah, why not? Although I do think he's in there just to take the pin, but I'm gonna cheer for him anyway.
Yeah, I mean it'll be good. You know, I was there, and it was at WrestleMania 30 New Orleans when he won the belt. It was a phenomenal moment. Do I think that he has the same, I don't know, elements in the universe coming together right now? No, I don't. Could I see WWE giving it to him? Yes. Do I think that it'll happen? No. So that's why I went with Edge.
No. It's not that I'm disagreeing with your pick. As I said, I'm picking this just sheer out of, I like the guy. Which sometimes works out for me when I just pick based off of what I want instead of what I think.
Your sheer gut feeling on it. Yep.
Yeah.
Break it down. Bam. Did that give you enough time to find the predictions?
I think so. So, or I already had them pulled up. So yeah. So as you're coming back, thanks, past Howard, for that lovely throw in here to future Howard.
That was very rousing. Look at that. We had lots of predictions. Were we right? Were we wrong? The world may never know. Wait, no, you do know because we're there. We've revealed the predictions of what may or may not happen. So I guess this is the time. Let's go down the list and see who did well and who absolutely suck it.
Well, yeah, and then we'll kind of follow up with some thoughts on the show. So, starting at the top, we had the tag team turmoil match, which had Natalya and Tamina versus Naomi and Lana versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus the Riot Squad. So,
was not needed. Just wasn't needed.
I totally disagree there, Kidder. What would we have done?
And the only reason that you wanted, because Mandy Rose took a slide gracefully down the entrance ramp. But if you notice, she had perfect form when she did it, with throwing her arms out and doing a proper bump.
Right. I just a little disappointed on, the commentators weren't quick enough to, because they really should have just sold that with, oh my God, it's the Invisible Man. He strikes again.
What about Vacant? Remember that joke where Vacant has won the world title more than anybody else and stuff like that? Like with them erasing Chris Benoit. Vacant.
Yeah. So I mean, they could have had some fun with it, but overall, I mean, it was an okay match. Was it needed? No. I think you could have just booked, Natalya and Tamina, who are your winners, into night 2. You could have just gone straight to that. I understand the idea that this was a way to put more women on the show, but I think there were other things you could have done with it.
Yes, like another or more women's matches. They could have done the tag team turmoil match on SmackDown. And the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial Battle Royal. Done that also on SmackDown like they did. So they could have 2 WrestleMania lead-ins. So it'd be like WrestleMania SmackDown. Just like they're doing with WrestleMania Backlash. That would have been a good option. Or to make the thing go faster and then draw it out so all of them can have better and longer exposure. Make it a tornado tag match. Because there were 5 teams, right? We ended up with 5 the day of. Or were there 6?
Yeah. I think they added one other one because I think Carmella and Billie Kay ended up in this match.
Correct. So, again, not specifically necessary for the match. They could have just had fatal 4-way tag match. I don't know. Do something where all 4 of the tag teams are in there and make it really a tag team turmoil to be interested in. Okay, each tag team is out there. They're all trying to win and whatnot. I mean, that would have been more interesting for me to have all 4 teams on the show all at once and just go from there. Not do the old gauntlet match, which that is what that was.
Yeah. So in the end, Natalya and Tamina won, as I said. Elwood or Kidder.
All of the above.
Yes, Kidder, you had Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke winning it. I had the Riot Squad. Unfortunately, we were both wrong, so neither of us score a point there.
Do we have a sound effect for that? Do we have something pulled up on? Does our sound master have something in the lineup that we could have for this? Not only this match, but also our scores. Close enough.
That works. Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Next up in the predictions, we had The New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos.
I'm not really a fan of the squash type matches of, okay, this is the biggest, baddest, newest thing, and I don't know. It wasn't a terrible match. There were a couple decent spots in it, and of course, enjoy watching AJ Styles wrestle, and watching Kofi and Xavier Woods. A couple of fantastic wrestlers there. Not happy with the result. I went with the New Day. They lost.
Right. AJ and Omos pick up the win. I had AJ Styles because I figured that they had, so far in everything I had seen, booked Omos as this unbeatable giant. So I kind of, I saw that was just kind of the way it was going. Yeah, really some great wrestling followed by a squash. And I agree with you. I'm never a big fan of these monsters that no sell, because eventually if they get into a predicament where it's like they have to sell, they have to lose, and then then they just kind of fizzle, because it's like, oh, you're not as unbeatable as we thought you were. I will say though, one highlight of this was Big E did come out and do the entrance for the New Day, which to me was right. You and I have talked about the fact that just because the tag team is broken up, and on different shows, that really they should still kind of come out and support each other. And you know what? That's what they did. I liked it. So it was a great moment to see. So the next match we had on predictions was Seth Rollins versus Cesaro.
I really love this match. I felt with, aside from Seth Rollins' current character, if you even want to call it a character, Seth Rollins still good wrestler. Cesaro, I feel he is at the top of his game. He's healed up, and he's not sitting there being plagued by these constant injuries or troubles, if you will, taped up and whatnot. Fantastic match. Set a new record for the Cesaro swing with 21, 22, something like that. Swings
23.
Okay, depends on which audience member you ask, because the people in attendance couldn't count worth crap. So there's that. Picked Cesaro, and the Swiss cyborg Superman picks up the win.
Right. I also had Cesaro, so point for me as well. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that this was the match of the night. Actually, this would have been my top match for night one. I thought it was good. The only thing that I really will complain about, and it's the shenanigans around the spin, and it's because if you're paying any sort of attention to like where Rollins starts, he doesn't make a full rotation, but the audience is more counting on a cadence. The 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're not counting it on the full rotation. So he didn't really go around 23 times. So yeah, to me that just gets really gimmicky. I could have done without that part of the match, but otherwise, I thought the two had a phenomenal match. So.
Yep. That was awesome. And I think that was my favorite of Mania this year. So I'll go with night 1 and 2.
Okay. Then we had Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman in a steel cage.
We went how annoying the cage matches are in WWE right now, and again there was shenanigans with it. I bet against the money. I went with Braun Strowman, and Braun ended up doing some pretty good spots. Shane O'Mac did the stereotypical, I shouldn't even say stereotypical, because it's just the spots that Shane O'Mac does with the coast to coast, and then of course like the elbow drop, leg drop off the top of the cage there. So some good stuff, and Braun Strowman victorious.
Yeah, I will say, I don't care for cage matches. I want to like a cage match. I want to enjoy it, but they get so gimmicky with the whole you can't get in, you can't get out. You know, it's one of
Unless
those.
you open
You
the
have the
door
part.
or you go over the top. Like, dude, this
Well,
is stupid. It's like even Hell in the Cell where you get locked in. It's the same sort of thing.
right. But I mean, like, again, there's so many ways. Like, if you were serious about winning the match, there's a part in it where Braun Strowman literally rips the side of the cage open and pulls Shane back through. If you're Shane McMahon, and there's enough time in this, if you're Shane McMahon and you watch Braun Strowman do that, why don't you just jump off the side of the cage? You'll land on the floor, you win the match.
Yeah, you just got to touch the floor. That's all you got to do.
Right. You know, why don't you? He's not scared of jumping off stuff. You know, that's what always bugs me is some of the logic that you see behind it. And there was some mistimings with some of this where there was a spot where Elias and Mason Riker were climbing, but they slowly stopped climbing and then started coming down, and you could tell that they were clearly waiting for Strowman to hit the side of the cage and knock them off, but they ended up waiting too long, and it just kind of like,
yeah,
killed that.
Wasn't timed out that well there. So, and then the whole reasoning for the match. Well, Shane McMahon's called me stupid for weeks, and I'm going to beat him because then I'm going to show him exactly what I think of people who call people stupid and they're bullies. All right. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
So you had Strowman, so you get a point. I had McMahon. I do not get a point. Our next match was on the predictions was Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and Morrison.
So I have to give Bad Bunny some actual cred for this as much as I don't want to, because I don't like the celebrity appearances in the matches. Like, you got enough people on the roster, feature them, like feature people on the show, which clearly, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, the people who are no longer with the company who could have or should have been featured over somebody who is a, in my opinion, D-list celebrity. Okay, cool. You have 20 million spins on YouTube or Spotify or wherever. Like, I still don't like your music, and it's in Spanish, so I don't know Spanish, so I'm not going to listen to it. Cool. So I will, like I said, I will give him a little bit of credit because he was working hard. He was at the Performance Center learning how to wrestle, how to do wrestling moves, and how to take bumps and actually do something in the ring other than stand there because he's a celebrity. So I will give him that. Plus, like I said, he ended up doing a little bit of, decent spots, the coming off the top rope, off the turnbuckle, doing a few doing a finisher, things like that. So it wasn't terrible. Was the match needed? No. Would have rather have seen just Miz and Morrison in a match with why can't I remember the guy's name? The other guy. Not Bad Bunny.
Damian Priest.
Yes. With that guy. Would have been fine. You don't need the extra celebrity enforcer. Damian Priest is a good enough wrestler on his own to have a WrestleMania match and have potentially a WrestleMania moment. BFFs. How about Bad Bunny sings a little bit of a song or something. Hey, yeah, man. Have a good match. Cool. And then get your ass to the back or sit there in a folding chair at the top of the ramp and watch the match. That, I don't know. That would have been a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, the celebrity match at WrestleMania is it's almost tradition at this point. So I'm probably not as harsh on it as you are. I will say this was one of probably the better matches for a celebrity match.
Yep, I'll give you that.
But yeah, it was all right. But truthfully, the best part of this match, and we should just take a moment to just mention all of the production problems that happened in night one. They had a rough night. But the best part was part of Miz and Morrison's entrance was they had, I don't know how many it was, like 20 guys dressed in Easter Bunny suits hopping down to the ring. And the best part was these suits were so cheap that the ears were falling off of the suits.
And it wasn't just one or two. I believe we were up to 6 or 7 rabbits. And it wasn't like just in a row. There's some at the front, some in the middle, some in the back. And then you'd see little ears laying on the ramp and the ring because they're all hopping around and stuff. And it's like, you couldn't spend the extra 20 seconds like zip tying that bitch into the top of the helmet or the face covering or whatever it was. Like, really, you waste that time getting these stupid suits, and then you don't spend the time getting that thing secured. Are you kidding me? I think that there are some people in the apparel or wardrobe department who should have been cut other than these people who were let go the other day. That's just my 2 cents, okay?
Yeah. As I said, to me, it made me chuckle. I got more of a kick out of that than quite a few things on this show. So I just had to point out. But on the predictions, we both had Bad Bunny. So a point for each of us in that case.
Bazinga.
Which brings us to what ended up being the main event of night one, which was Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair.
Yeah, with this one, they put on a hell of a match. I know I was pretty critical with them on the WrestleMania predictions portion of it. I we'll see how well Bianca Belair does as a women's champion. That's really something to be seen. So nothing to take it away from, their historic headlining of WrestleMania. The problem I have is, again, they brought in the color. Okay. And yes, I am a balding white man who keeps changing color due to the lights on the camera, right? But it was just historic because there are 2 women wrestling in the main event at WrestleMania. Does it matter if they're black, white, Cuban, Hispanic, French, Canadian, Norwegian, Russian? No, it doesn't. We are all people on this earth. So, yes, it's historic because they are women wrestling in this match. Are they historic because it's 2 black women? I don't know. And I don't want to go into speculation on their racial profiles of like, okay, they're 32% this and 18% this, but I find it more of a historic event of 2 women being in the main event of WrestleMania, because historically, WrestleMania has been male dominant in 95% of the matches, and then there's like 1 or 2 used to be divas matches or even women's wrestling matches, or they're side pieces for a men's match. So it's, yes, history breaking. We'll see how Bianca Belair does. We'll see how Sasha Banks treats this, or if she gets mad and then leaves the company, or not leaves, but is on a hiatus from the company for 5 months again, like last year, or what happens from now. So I wish both of them the best and success. And I'm glad that Sasha Banks didn't end up like half killing herself with a concussion and snapping her neck in half with some of the spots that she does and how she's had to relinquish titles in the past. So I think that is also a fact that this is the first time, aside from the women's title belts, the tag title belts, that she has lost the title under an actual match finish. Could be wrong.
Well, she has lost the title under a match finish. It's though a lot of times there's stuff behind the like she has wrestled injured to transfer the title. Um, I'm probably not as harsh on this as you are. If I was upset about anything with this match, it's the build, and it was because they did all of the we got to have somebody be a heel. And I think you could have just had these two, because when the match started, like you could just tell that both were overwhelmed with emotion. They were feeling the moment, it meant something to them. It was something big. And it almost didn't need Sasha's been a jerk, storyline to it. You could have had these two, just, hey, we both think we're the best. We're going to headline WrestleMania, and have this first ever women's singles match headline WrestleMania. And we're going to find out who's the best. And you didn't really need a heel. You didn't really need a face. It kind of, that was the thing that kind of got me, was you watched all of the video packages before that, and you just kind of went, you didn't need this. There was enough real emotion in just the honors of what they were doing. I think you could have just had that. So it's one of those. I don't think it needed the storytelling that WWE put with it. But I thought it was a great match. I enjoyed it. They did some nice storytelling in the ring. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great note to go out on.
It was a great finish to night one.
Yeah. Okay, well, the last match that we have to talk about from night one, which actually was
do we have?
Oh, who did we have pick wise? Yep, sorry, I got ahead of myself.
I know.
We both had we both had Belair, so that's a point for each of us. So doing pretty well.
And so again, going back to the second to last match from night one.
Well, actually, this was the first match. This was the opener for night one.
Oh, okay. It was the opener.
And
I don't know where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because we had them in what we thought was the match order based off the card as we knew it and such. So what was the opening match, but the last match for us for night one that we're talking about was Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre.
Yes. So, of course, I thought that McIntyre would win the title once again. I feel that he's got more of the universe on his back, as in support. Also, not thrilled with the Hurt Business being broken up, and then Bobby Lashley and MVP being there, and kind of, again, how it used to be for Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. I mean, I really don't think that they need to be by themselves. They should have their little stable, because that was more interesting to me. I actually watched stuff like that, but now probably just going to skip most of it. So I think I went with Drew McIntyre for that. And of course, Bobby Lashley picked up the victory on that one.
Yeah. We both had McIntyre. We both lost on this one. It was all right. And that's really it. I don't have much to say. It was here come all the big moves.
Mm-hmm.
Here's
a match. All right.
That really was what it was to me. It was, here's a match. And which is a feeling you're going to get from me from a lot more as we dive into night two. So.
Well, yeah, because if they had ended night one and that was WrestleMania, all right, I can live with that. Fine. Okay. Well, we have night two with all of these big matches, big names, stuff that you've been looking forward to seeing, allegedly. And we started out with.
Well, and again, I have them in different order than what we saw them in. but
it doesn't matter what order they're in. I had to.
Yeah,
sorry.
No. So for night 2, we have starting off Riddle versus Sheamus.
This match, happy that I think I predicted it wrong. I think I predicted it wrong. I am happy. Riddle, actually, I don't know if he got just part of his mouth cut open or a fat lip, or if he lost a tooth or something, but he finally had that razor scooter shoved somewhere that it doesn't belong and lost the U.S. title, so we don't have to see as much of him on television.
Yeah, no, we both got this wrong. We both had Riddle retaining. Sheamus picks up the win. I, again, think this was probably a bit of a reward for them flipping the script and not having the McIntyre Sheamus match at Mania, which is what I think the program was originally supposed to be.
Sure.
So, yeah, it was an okay match.
Yeah.
So no points there. We have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus the winner of the night 1 tag team turmoil match, which ended up being Natalya and Tamina.
Oh, right, the match picks there. I should have taken a nap during this match. Now, Natalya and Tamina, big push behind them, because let's not see Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler as the women's tag team champion holders anymore. Shayna Baszler, go do your thing as a singles competitor. Fantastic. Nia Jax, go home. Done. Absolutely done. Don't like your wrestling. Don't like your personality. I think you're terrible on the microphone. You're not mean. Just go away. So I believe I got that one wrong. Again, hoping what I just said. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So maybe next time.
Yeah, no, I was wrong with that one as well. And yeah, that was enough. So no points there. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn.
Fantastic match. KO and Sami Zayn always been fantastic partners in the ring, opposite each other or as tag partners. This one I enjoyed the hell out of, and could have been a little bit longer, could have been a couple more spots in there with a few more back and forth, but you know what? It was good as it was. I picked the winner there, KO, with the victory and the old stunner, 1, 2, 3. I don't really think that there could have or should have been a whole lot other than this YouTube star or something being part of this, but not part of this. He was just commentary, not really interesting. I mean, I have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah, so Logan Paul was who was the YouTube commentator or content creator who was on this. This, if you go back to earlier in this bonus episode where Kidder was ranting about celebrity appearances at WrestleMania, this is the stuff that he's talking about, and this is why I will let the Bad Bunny stuff pass, because this was the epitome of bad celebrity appearances. Logan Paul didn't,
and that's why I gave him credit. That's why I gave him credit, because Bad Bunny did something. This guy, waste of time. Aside from the point, the 3 seconds when he got stuttered, best part of the match, done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all he did was sit there and make like over exaggerated reaction faces the whole time.
I forgot. This is how much I didn't care about him being there. I forgot he wasn't even on commentary. He was literally sitting in a chair next to the commentary table. I should have been drinking during that match, but then I would have missed KO and Sami Zayn. There's no point to it.
So I got it wrong because I said Sami Zayn because of a screwy finish, because why else do you put Logan Paul? These guys don't need that. Like, these guys are good enough. If you're a fan of wrestling, you're going to enjoy this match. You don't need the extra celebrity thing to hype it up. So I thought, well, the only reason I could see it was to create some sort of screw job finish, and that didn't happen. So I don't get the point on that one. But yeah, I actually, Kidder, this is my match of WrestleMania. So minus the Logan Paul appearance.
So this was the match up until the camera shots of the and the post match shenanigans.
Oh, the post match shenanigans were fine. Like I didn't mind KO doing that. But I will agree with you. I would have liked to have seen more. Like I could have done with more of these two guys battling. They're excellent together. They have great chemistry together. It's I enjoy it. All right, that brings us to Big E versus Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. For those who don't know what a Nigerian drum fight is, apparently it means that they put a bunch of drums around the ring and a cymbal that they call a gong, and you basically have a street fight.
As a former percussionist, I have to say that I am greatly offended by the WWE's lack of knowledge on most things, including that a gong is a gong and not a giant cymbal or a piece of tin. So, I mean, yes, essentially that's what it is, but the piece of crap that they found and used as a gong, again, this match, I should have went to the bathroom and just sat in there for 20 minutes because I think I would have got more out of it than during this match. Because not only what I've talked about with Apollo Crews and his new gimmick, which don't like. Number two, Big E is a phenomenal wrestler, and I feel he should still be the champion because he can carry it better than Apollo Crews in his current gimmick. Number three, the stupid interference of this dude who everybody's, oh my God, who is this guy? He came out of nowhere. Who is he? Where is he from? Nobody. Do you know who he is? I know. Okay, well, let's pull up the phone. Bloop, 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 bloop. Oh, he was on Raw Underground. Another stupid idea that they tried to fill time with. Right. Oh, he's suddenly a master sergeant or a technical sergeant, or some other made-up term in the Nigerian army to help Apollo Crews win. Come on. This is absolute garbage. Stop with this crap. He can be a wrestler. Apollo. I liked his NASA logo. Like, they made a patch like he's going to be a wrestler from the moon, kind of like back in the day with Evan Bourne. Like he's a high flyer, can do flying moves or whatever you want. Just make him an astronaut. I don't care. This is how I talk. This is actually how I talk. No, that's how it is when you have stupid writers and you make this garbage and shove it down your throat.
Yeah. And to me, like this match wasn't great. I don't remember watching most of it. I think I did other things.
I believe that's the time when we were cooking the meat, having some wonderful grilling time, or at least getting it ready. I mean, that I got more out of that than the match. So we had the break out of it, and I lost the match. So
yeah. Yeah, so did I. Truthfully, what I would have liked to have seen them do is something closer to a four corners match. You know, especially with this idea of like a Nigerian drum match where you strap the two of them together, but instead of necessarily like having to just touch the four corners, maybe there's a drum you have to play at each. No, that would have at least been different. I understand that that's just another variation on a thing, but that, that could have been at least something interesting in that regard. Or, really, I just wanted more creativity than we're going to put a bunch of drums around. And I agree. I wasn't a big fan of the interference of the guy from nowhere and that. Yeah. So, yeah. The Fiend versus Randy Orton. Our
Again,
leadoff match.
Yeah, lead off. Yeah, this was. I can't believe that they started the show with this, because it set the tone for the show. Oh, this is going to be garbage. Okay, like, and I don't want to spoil too much for those looking to actually watch and enjoy this. Number one, still absolutely despise the lighting. I don't care that he's big, bad, and ugly. He take the stupid red lighting and turn it off. Make it white. Just make it normal lighting. Maybe you can have some special effect lighting here and there, flashes or something. I don't know. Do it something interesting. The red, dumb. Number two, Alexa Bliss. Oh, she's standing next to the box. She opens the box and there's the Fiend. Okay, great. Fantastic, because she's a little, mystery box there, whatever. Then we go through the match, and I zoned out or did something, or I don't even remember what I was doing, but then the Fiend, like, and he's normal of the Fiend. Okay. And then Randy Orton is, again, 100% offense, but the Fiend is no-selling him, which, again, the almighty powerful Fiend, whatever. Okay, and then Alexa Bliss pops up, and then she's got, like, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Snake semen coming on, this all over her. Blah, blah, blah. She's turning black. Like, okay, what does it mean? And then the Fiend is like, and then Randy Orton RKO's him 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm fine with that. Randy Orton gets the hell out of here. And then Alexa Bliss and the Fiend are staring at each other. Okay. What's the point? I don't get it. I mean, that's the mystery. No, I really just don't get it. Is somebody really high writing this crap? Or do they just not know what they're doing? I'm going to go with both. What? You're just staring at me. What?
This was a very disappointing for me. So, the Fiend came out as, well, the new but regular Fiend, not the burnt to a crisp Fiend. You did miss, though, the wonderful piece of commentary that Byron Saxton did, which was Alexa standing next to that. What is that? A box-like structure.
Oh, right. You mean a box.
Yeah.
Maybe a cube-like structure. Like a Borg cube.
I don't have much to say about this one. I'm just highly disappointed in it. It for setting the tone for the rest of the night, it kind of killed night 2, and nothing really picked it up.
No, it really didn't recover. It was like, oh, tonight's going to be the big night with every superstar, big name, whatever, trying to be the showcase night of the 2 nights. Meh. Best thing was Randy getting the hell out of here, because that's almost what we should have done, or drank more to get through the show to enjoy it more.
Yeah. I have heard some rumors that originally the Fiend was supposed to win it, and then they changed their mind. I haven't heard why, but that's what I've heard, is that it was originally supposed to be the Fiend winning. They changed it to Orton. Anyway, neither of us got a point on that one. And so that brings us to Asuka versus Rhea Ripley.
Yes. With Rhea Ripley showing up and then challenging Asuka out of nowhere to replace Charlotte, I don't really know why Charlotte was... I do apparently know why, with the rumors that have been thrown about that her medical levels were high and they thought that she might be pregnant or some stupid thing. At least that's what one rumor mill on the web said. I don't really buy into that. Sure. So there you go. Again, the rumor mills, right? What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she missed Mania. Rhea Ripley steps in, and then this is out of nowhere. Again, okay, Rhea Ripley, great match, and then winning it in her first match. It's kind of like the Raw after WrestleMania that I was at, where Paige debuted on the main roster and won the WWE Divas title from then champion AJ Lee. Why couldn't they have done that on the Raw after Mania? Fine. Great. Have Asuka face somebody else. Rhea Ripley, she was on WrestleMania last year, although this is her WrestleMania debut. Thanks, Michael Cole. Good job doing that research. But aside from that, there's so many other people who could have been just as good or even better contenders than Rhea Ripley.
See, I think you're being a bit hard on Rhea Ripley.
No, I'm being hard on the WWE because that's why I'm here.
Yeah. No, I think she's been tearing it up in NXT, really, and such. So I have no problem with that, or her beating Asuka or that. And I actually thought it was a decent match. My only real complaint was that it followed a bunch of just bleh matches, and by then it's just like, meh. My care level had hit a point where it's like, meh. I just don't really care.
I think I'm about the same with that. I mean, and maybe that's why I'm so critical on it after the fact of, well, it could have been better and it could have been earlier, or there could have been, another way, another method of the madness. There could always be something else.
Yeah. Let's see.
I got that wrong.
We both had Nope, actually, we both had Ripley. We both got the point on that.
Okay. We foresaw the WWE making their normal way of writing.
Yeah. And then we had the big triple threat, which was our closer for the 2-night WrestleMania. Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan.
I went off on this before, so you already know my thoughts on this. I picked Edge as I felt that Edge should have the one more run as the champion. I watched his retirement ceremony 10 years ago, and I felt that he deserves it to get it back. I don't think Roman Reigns is doing anything with the title aside from holding on to it. I feel that he is the step in for Brock Lesnar right now because he's doing exactly what Brock Lesnar did. The only difference is Roman Reigns is there every week. Brock Lesnar, not always there. He's got Paul Heyman. They're both there. I mean, it's kind of dumb how they keep writing the same garbage for different people. And we're seeing that, right? With on Raw, how Bobby Lashley and MVP. We got the champ and the talker. And then SmackDown, Roman Reigns. Or you could, like I said, replace him with Brock Lesnar. And then Paul Heyman. Same thing. Blah, blah, blah. We're big, bad, and tough, and you're not going to beat us, and it is what it is. So I was hoping Edge would take it. It'd be a different spin. Of course, I was wrong because the tribal chief needs to put us to sleep and make a big deal out of it with help from Jey Uso, because Jimmy Uso is not around at the moment, and it is what it is. So here we are again with a no title change where title should have changed.
Yep, and ditto, but I had Bryan, so neither of us get a point there. And then we had our bonus questions. Will Becky Lynch return? We both said yes. That didn't happen. And would Ronda Rousey returned. You had yes, I had no, so I get one more point there. And that brings us to the end, Kidder. And the big winner of the night was it's a tie. We both had 6 correct on the entire thing.
And how many matches were there again?
Even your wife had 6. Let's see. So
yeah, it was a 3-way tie for 6th or for first place, and 1 for second.
We had 14 questions, so we're below 50%.
I mean, as we've discussed before, kind of a decent thing because, okay, we're not predicting specifically what WWE does. However, I still like being right. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I enjoyed night 1 better than night 2. I thought night 1 was the stronger night. I thought night 2 was more disappointing. And just a lot of matches that didn't quite deliver. To give you an idea, like I've been trying to be vocal about what I thought about matches, but I truthfully spent more time working on podcast stuff than actually watching the event. So I'm not gonna lie, I was listening to somebody else's take on WrestleMania, and they were talking about the triple threat match, and they were talking about how Jey Uso was interfering all through the beginning part until he was taken and helped to the back. I'm like, wait, that happened? I
remember him interfering, but I don't remember being taken to the back either. So
yeah,
was not so attention either.
So that just to tell you, like, that's kind of my, I think, take on it was I watched a bit more of night 1 than night 2, and night 2 just, it didn't, I spent my time working on the podcast here. So it didn't,
which is okay because clearly this is the important thing.
Right. And so, yeah, I didn't enjoy WrestleMania. I didn't enjoy the reuse of the title video package. I mean, yes, they changed a few bits, but basically it was the same terrible Johnny Depp impersonator that they used the year before. You mentioned the writing. There was a segment, and I think it was early in night 2. I think it was at the beginning of night 2, where they brought Hulk Hogan out with Titus O'Neil dressed as pirates, and they were making all of these terrible pirate puns.
Yes.
And I believe I actually said out loud, I'm like, somebody got paid to write this. I mean, you've been harping on the writing the whole time, but it's like somebody got paid to come up with bad pirate puns. I mean, these weren't good pirate puns. These were clearly dad jokes, which I will give Titus O'Neil, but like Hogan trying to pull them off, it fell flat.
Yep.
There were some other interesting moments. I thought Bayley's stuff was pretty good, as annoying as she was.
And I believe I said that she's like the new Vicky Guerrero right now, minus the excuse me. But
yeah, I loved the interaction with her and the Bellas, where she put, "Why are you here? There's no John Cena here," and Nikki just slapping her.
I think I reacted to that too. I'm like, oh shit! Okay.
I mean, what does that tell you? And I believe that may have been an ad lib line. I'm not sure. But it's one of those where that interaction there had more drama and more storytelling behind it than most of the matches on this card.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I could see the, Nikki Bella versus Bayley because of that sort of comment. Like, you could build a feud off of that.
Yeah, whether it's so much better than or Mania next year. Done.
Right. But so much better than the "you're stupid." I mean, it's just.
I'm gonna get back at him because calling his bullied, everybody's stupid and brr.
Yeah. So Kidder, I was contemplating like very much like I think I'm done. Like I don't know. This was probably the worst WrestleMania I've seen in a long time.
Since last year's? I mean, there were some good matches again last year.
I thought the storytelling was better last year, but
yeah, I could give you that.
I just no, like I have no interest in Backlash, which is the next one coming up. I just don't. I don't care. I don't care about, because usually Backlash is the revenge pay-per-view for what happened at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that's
usually what it is. It's where a lot of the, well, in my contract, I get a rematch. That's what it is. It's the revenge pay-per-view. And I just don't care. Like, I would take another Sasha Banks Belair match. I'm fine with that. I would take another Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match.
Mm-hmm.
I'd take a Seth Rollins Cesaro match. And after that, I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And maybe as a great transition into this, I think part of it is that I know that there's great talent that isn't being used. And maybe
right. And
segue into the big news of this week.
Well, one thing that I saw is how our where did I want to go with that? Our friend Cesaro. That's where I wanted to go with it. On this evening's Friday Night SmackDown, basically has started to challenge Roman Reigns. So, could Cesaro be going for a title run? I'm down with it. That would be fantastic. Give him the title. He deserves a championship on the top level. Yes, I said it. He's deserved it for a long time. Now, has he done a ton with the tag division? Yes. Is he phenomenal as a tag team? Yes. Does he deserve a title that's on a higher level than the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title? Yes. Give him the damn title. Take it from Roman Reigns, because clearly he has the talent and the mic abilities to do it. Don't care what anybody at the WWE has to say, because I know that was one of the drawbacks of why we can't give him the title because he doesn't have as good mic skills as somebody else. Just give him the title. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing him.
He's got the fans behind him.
Yes, the fans are behind him. He is like when I was at WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan. Cesaro is the current person who needs the title. He's already over. Give him the belt. Let him have it for a while. SummerSlam, have a big match. Whatever. See where it goes.
Well, I mean, you talk about kind of underappreciated talent. I mean, I think they said it on commentary. This was his first ever singles match at Mania.
Yeah. That's absurd.
He's been there over 10 years.
Yeah. And he and Sheamus have been there about the same length, I think. I could be wrong with that. I think Cesaro came in after Sheamus, but I remember
a while after Sheamus. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, give the guy a chance. Come on.
Yeah.
So as you were talking about segueing, unless you had a little bit more to discuss with the Cesaro section, you get your sheet with the C.
No, I don't.
It must be in one of the boxes then, because I know you're part of the Cesaro section.
Yeah, I enjoy him.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So we were talking about how a lot of the wrestlers today, the breaking news as much as it pisses me off. The breaking news is that a bunch of WWE superstars have been released by the company in the annual bloodletting, I guess, is kind of what it has come down to with, the cost saving initiatives, and we don't have the budget for that, but yet we can have all of these writers writing this garbage for you. So, let's see. At the top of the list, Samoa Joe. He's been doing commentary for a while because he hasn't been cleared for wrestling due to a concussion from a commercial a year ago. Hasn't been cleared yet because of a concussion. Okay.
It's the same thing like with Daniel Bryan. So I'm going to guess that Samoa Joe's doctors will clear him, but WWE's doctors won't clear him. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this was a release that he asked for, because I'm guessing he wants to go. Samoa Joe is up there. He's kind of towards the end of his career, or getting closer to the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a lot of years left to make these big runs. And so, if he wants to have a last really great run, he's got to go elsewhere, because even with his time in WWE, like, he had some pretty good runs in NXT, but they really haven't done much with him, which is sad, because he is, again, phenomenal talent.
Like 2 years ago, he should have held the WWE or the Universal title. I don't care which of them. He should have had one of those titles 2 years ago when Brock Lesnar was holding it, or a year ago, whatever it was, when he was wrestling. Okay, Samoa Joe should have had that title. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. I mean, you look at some of those promos, like the promos he did against AJ with the Wendy, I'm coming home, Wendy. I mean, it's like, if you were to give the script that he was given to some of the other talent, and I think fairly highly of the talent, I don't know that they could deliver it with the right menace that you need, where he's got just that right kind of gravel in his voice, and he just made it just sing-songy enough with a Wendy, it's
that was good. So
it was very good.
Unfortunately, no longer with the old double E, and hopefully it'll be one of those things where he gets healed, cleared, whatever the case may be, and in a year comes back. I mean, obviously he can do a lot better in other wrestling promotions, wherever they may be, but because I don't have time to sit and watch a whole bunch of other wrestling promotions, I hope he comes back to WWE, much like our friend CM Punk. Hopefully that whole thing gets situated one of these days as well. Next on the list, the Iconics. I will miss seeing at least Peyton Royce. Billie Kay, she had some good comedy spots, especially in this year's WrestleMania, coming out again with Carmella, the surprise tag team as part of that tag team turmoil. I think both of them as a tag team were great on the microphone, and then when they split them up, dumbest thing again ever.
Yeah,
I hate that.
I was also going to say Billie Kay's Royal Rumble performance was fantastic. And I say that because she did something that nobody else had done, which was the whole, like, I'm going to find a partner. And I loved it. After she came out, she went and sat at commentary. And then as everybody else came out, she'd walk over with her resume and try to convince them. Yeah. And it was...
Hey, I just partner, huh? Hey, just partner.
It was...
All right, let's go.
It was different, and it was, it was gimmicky, sure. But you know what? I enjoyed that. It
was different and it was funny.
It was a nice change. So sad to see both of them go. Peyton Royce, I know, had made some amazing strides to be better. I've heard a lot of good things about her progress. So it's kind of a shame. I'm going to predict now she's going to end up on AEW. with her husband.
Yeah, I could see that too.
You
And
know,
maybe Billy Kay will be there with her. Oh, yes. 10. The perfect 10. Again, another wrestler that I think WWE completely screwed up. But where are you going to go with it, right? Let's see. Next on the list, Mickie James. Really? Again. You screwed up with Mickie James. Again. And she had some great matches with Alexa Bliss, tagging with her or fighting with her. I mean, great matches. Again. And you screwed it up. Chelsea Green. She, big NXT superstar, was supposed to debut on SmackDown, I believe it was, quite a while ago. Injured herself on the debut. It happens, but then, I think they just wished her a happy birthday the other day. And hell, Merry Christmas, happy birthday. Get the hell out of here. Get your bags, get your boots. See you later. This one, did you have some
no,
closing
I
comments?
don't know much about Chelsea Green, so continue. Move on down the list.
The next one, very much expected, Tucker, the other half of Otis and Tucker. Now, when Otis and Tucker were together as Heavy Machinery, hey, a couple of blue collar guys, yeah. Again, great tag team. You split them up. Oh, wait. Guess what? Otis is in another tag team. Imagine that.
Truthfully, and I saw their rise in NXT. They weren't a great tag team.
No.
You really had Otis, who was kind of the personality and the, like the chutzpah, and Tucker was kind of like the guy who was still at developmental that they just couldn't figure out what to do with him. And like, he had a lot of runs with some different gimmicks. And I think the Heavy Machinery thing stuck. And I think it was because Otis was unique enough to make it stick. So it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Hey, Tucker! Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we won't hear that for a while. Kalisto. I've seen Kalisto wrestle in person several times. And again, very talented wrestler. That Lucha House Party and everything. I don't know, man. I mean, they just run out of things for them to do, and they don't make it as singles wrestlers, even with a tag team.
That's because they're, with a lot of their luchadors, they're trying to find the next Rey Mysterio. That's all they're doing. And when they don't get over like Rey Mysterio, then it's, I mean, just look, since Rey left the company when he did. I mean, then you had Sin Cara. He didn't work out. Kalisto, he didn't work out. Andrade, he didn't quite work out. I mean, they've kind of been looking for that babyface Mexican luchador wrestler. And, they finally did, though, find a replacement for Rey Mysterio.
Dominic!
Rey Mysterio.
Welcome!
Oh. No, just Rey Mysterio.
Okay.
They brought him back.
Well, right, yeah, he's still there after being released and then brought back, and released and brought back.
Right, which is sad because there are some amazing talent in the luchador wrestling scene. If you go over to AEW and watch the Lucha Brothers with Pentagon and Phoenix, like, you got Phoenix who can do all of the flippity stuff that's amazing, and Pentagon is just a beast. It's phenomenal. I like watching those two.
That was like, and I think I sent you a text either at the beginning of the match or during the match, but when I was at the Royal Rumble 2019 in Phoenix, and saw Raw and SmackDown, and of course the Rumble, and got to see main event recorded and whatnot, and the like bonus matches, if you will, and a bunch of the other high flyers and like Kalisto and Lucha House Party, actually see them wrestle. Akira Tozawa, and then who was the other one? Was he a Japanese wrestler? He's since been released a while ago, like last year. I can't remember. You were a big fan of him.
Kenta.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Kenta was his is his name when he wrestles in New Japan. What was his WWE name? Hideki Atamo.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, had a his debut in NXT was phenomenal. There's because he's the one who brought in Finn Balor, who another favorite of mine, who's now on NXT because they couldn't do anything with him on the main roster.
But I think that's a good place for him because he's actually doing things.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Next on the list, The Fiend's brother, Bo Dallas.
You can do it as long as you believe.
I'm really glad that you did it because I thought about doing it, but I didn't want to. So I'm very happy that you did that.
My wife hated that catchphrase and gimmick. So we were talking, me and her were talking about wrestlers being released last night. And I said, "Oh, your favorite's gone. Bo Dallas is gone." She goes, "Who?" I'm like, "You could remember him. All you have to do is believe." And she's like, "Good. I'm glad he's gone." So, yeah. He never.
So
had
he's
a
gone.
main roster run.
I think that it would have been awesome had he actually brought in the real life tie of being the Fiend's brother. That would have been interesting. Like, write it differently, right? Like, I was the normal one, and he was always messed up. And then slowly goes and gets messed up or brought in, and then he gets drawn into the Firefly Funhouse or whatever the hell you want to write it. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways that you could do it, but bring him in, right? That sounds cool.
You know, he would have been a great back when Bray was doing the Wyatt family. Because the thing about the Wyatt family was always about trying to convert people over to joining them. You know, and which never worked because they would always put somebody like, "Oh yeah, Daniel Bryan has joined the Wyatt family. Randy Orton has joined the Wyatt family," and it lasts only so long, and then they turn on the Wyatt family. I think you could have done it and made some real like legs with it if you actually had them convert somebody, and Bo would have been a great choice with that. You know, because you could have then taken that Bo leave crap of his and made it even sinister. It would have fit within the Wyatt family, you know, because you could have done the, he will save you. All you have to do is believe. I mean, you could make that sinister, and it would work, and that would have been a great guy to have in the Wyatt family to take the pin, He could have been the weak member. It's kind of like, and again, AEW, you go over, they had the Dark Order, which is kind of like the Wyatt family, not quite like the same gimmick, but the same kind of like dark organization. And I mean, they're up to like 10 members, and they've done just that. It's the, you'll come and join us. That one was led by Brody Lee, also known as Luke Harper, before his unfortunate passing. In fact, his son still wrestles. Well, doesn't wrestle, but his son is a member of the Dark Order. He's -1. And so he comes out. He was given a Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, gave Brody Lee's son a lifetime, or gave him a contract, and he is a lifetime member of AEW. It was kind of a tribute for when Brody passed. So it was kind of a cool thing.
Yep. Solid. So I like it.
Yeah, so he comes out for any of the Dark Order matches. He comes out and escorts them to the ring. It's pretty cool. So
awesome.
Yeah,
I like it. Other than that, on the list, another expected release, Mojo Rawley. Hadn't really done anything for a year or longer. I mean, we'll even go back over a year when he was running around and beating up people with geez, I'm forgetting his name. Zack Ryder. He and Zack Ryder had a tag team that was, all right. Zack Ryder got released. Yeah, the Hype Bros.
Yeah.
I was somewhat interested in that because it was a gimmick. Like, oh, we're so excited, bro. Like, yeah, bro, PC, bro. Like South Park. It was different. Fine, go with it. Nope. Cut that. Done. Out. Zack Ryder. Matthew Cardona out, and maybe he'll come back to WWE at some point. I don't know. But Mojo Rawley out, and then a name that I'm not familiar with, Wesley Blake. Wesley Blake.
Wesley Blake was part of a very successful tag team with Buddy Murphy in NXT. Had some fantastic matches, and actually Alexa Bliss was their valet for a while.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Sorry. My assistant overheard.
Could you say it louder for the people in the back, please?
So anyway, yeah.
Are you saying that somebody with the first name Alexa and Bliss was a valet?
Yeah.
Now your assistant is going to be looking for valets for you. So good on you.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's part of what saved her career, because her original gimmick in NXT was so bad.
It was a cheerleader, right?
It was kind of a cheerleader. Wasn't quite, but like she came out to like sparkles and happy and all of that, and then she became kind of the leader / valet for this heel tag team, and kind of had this heel run and turned into something great. But yeah, so that's who Wesley Blake was. They split that tag team up, and they had kind of a failed singles runs on both. Buddy Murphy finally made it up to the main roster. Wesley Blake would make it up. He was part of the Forgotten Sons gimmick that was there for like a hot
for 3
minute.
weeks and then disappeared.
Yeah, so that's who he is. He's one of the Forgotten Sons, but yeah.
That's why we have you as the statistician, so then we can remember silly things like that. So thanks for that.
Yeah. So, every now and then this incredible memory of mine is good for something. So
let's see. Aside from that, John Laurinaitis reportedly told them that budget cuts were responsible for their ultimate release. A year ago, the same day, they released 20 different wrestlers, and then it was financial hardships due to the pandemic. Let's see. Let's go down the list.
We're gonna go through all those too. Oh boy.
No. I'm not going through all 20 of those from last year.
Okay.
This what I'm referencing is an article from a reputable sports illustration publication, and Mo Joe, again, 2020, when he was hurt in a commercial, the concussion thing, up until WrestleMania was on commentary. Now, as of this past Monday, replaced with Adnan Virk, who is a former ESPN baseball announcer, or ESPN announcer in general, I guess. Not impressed when I watched the first episode with him Byron Saxton and Corey Graves. That's your Raw team now.
Hot take. He's no Mauro Ranallo.
No. Fun fact, since you mentioned Mauro's name, is that he is actually going to be commentating for an Impact Wrestling match in the near future. So, if you don't know who Mauro Ranallo is, awesome commentator. Does a lot of MMA commentary or fight commentary. Is
Boxing
phenomenal
well.
on the microphone. Yeah,
yeah. Talk about guy who actually gets excited about what he's watching, and commentating on.
And I think that's what. Fact, oh well, you go ahead first.
I was going to say.
I talk enough.
Yeah, I was going to say he also, if you don't know Mauro Ranallo, he has quite the battle with bipolar disorder, and actually he allowed a documentary film crew to follow him, and I'm trying to remember the exact name of the documentary. I'll look it up here quick, but I have watched it. It is phenomenal to watch because you hear this guy on commentary and he's got just this great voice and he's so smooth and he just throws out these references beautifully and gets excited, and you look at all this prep, but then you watch him when he has one of his bad days and he just breaks down and you just feel for him. And I just remember the title of the documentary is Bipolar Rock and Roller. So go check that out. It's a phenomenal story about him growing up with bipolar disorder and being this very professional commentator. I mean, he's signed by Showtime Boxing. He's worked for the WWE. This guy is just phenomenal and has to do it while managing bipolar disorder. It's, as I said, go check out the documentary if you want to learn more about Mauro Ranallo. I highly recommend it. It's a very good documentary. I'd easily give it a 9 out of 10 stars if you wanted to go with a rating like that. But it's very phenomenal.
Good. And on top of that, his entrance music for WWE, The End of the Line, a very good song. And you could find that on the Killer Kidder Show on Spotify. Aside from that, we're talking about commentators. Corey Graves, of course, like I mentioned, moving to the Monday Night Raw Red brand and introducing Pat McAfee. I've never, as far as I know, listened to anything that he has or has said or done, but he is now the new partner for Michael Cole on Friday Night SmackDown, debuted earlier this evening that I have not watched yet. So that's something else. So we'll see how he has to go. Let's see down the line. Man, yeah. Kalisto, they got broken up in October during the draft. I forgot that, again, that was already in October. Bo Dallas hadn't wrestled since November 2019. I didn't think it was that long, but I guess so. And yeah. So let's see. Aside from that, I mean, that's about the end of the episode. It goes into some more detail about, why a couple of the people weren't on or whatnot. But in reality, here we are again. The old cycle continues. Sign more, cut more, sign more, cut more, see what people can do. So,
yeah, it's one of those things. I understand you do have to do cuts, and sometimes you have to cut weaker talent. That's one thing. It's always sad. I never like seeing anybody lose their job. And especially in a place like WWE where, unfortunately, you're going to get stuck sometimes with just a terrible gimmick, and or writers who don't know how to write anything for you and don't use you. I mean, I will give Vince Russo credit from his time in the Attitude Era and such. He did try his hardest to use everybody on the roster, and that's an important thing. Whether not, and I will say not all of his writing was good, so he got a little too swerve heavy. But yeah, you see the current product is focusing only on a few wrestlers, and yet they have this massive roster.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you have to produce this much content, you could shift some people around. I don't need to see pick a guy. I don't need to see Aleister Black on every show just to pick a guy. I could see him every other week. And you know what? It'd be a bit more special. It's in fact, it's interesting. You go back to watch like the original, like Monday Night Raws, and it was rare that you saw everybody. Now, of course, it was an hour-long show, and really they were filming them back to back. So yes, you didn't see them every week because they were on last week, but you didn't care. You were okay that, this week the Undertaker's not on. That's okay because he'll be on next week, or he'll be gone for a while and then he'll come back, and then it's a special thing because tonight on Monday Night Raw, it's the Undertaker. You could get away with some of that and not be hurt for it. You make up for it in promos. That's a better use of a promo than I'm going to say some mean things about you. Then you're going to come out here and you're going to say some mean things about me. And we're going to talk for 15 minutes. And then we may get a match, or we're really just setting up a match that's 3 weeks from now. It's that, but there's some of that I wish they'd kind of bring back in, and you could cycle through a bit more. And
cycle through the talent, use your roster, showcase everybody and their talents. I have the perfect example for you, and you're going to love it. Right here. This is Monday Night Raw from this past week. Charlotte came back, and what? She's angry because she wasn't on WrestleMania and it wasn't in the main event. And so who does she go and beat up? I mean, here, I'll show you it again, right? Look at that. It's the people right there. Asuka. Yeah. Welcome back, Charlotte. Okay. I'm not downplaying Charlotte's talents, because got to meet Charlotte and see her wrestle several times. And in fact, one of the matches that she wrestled in Phoenix was a bonus match, and it was the best match of the night. And it didn't even make TV that night. It was awesome. Does she need to be in the title program every cycle? No. She's already a 13-time women's champion. 13 times. She's been wrestling for 5 years in the main roster. Something like that. 5 years. I don't know.
Right.
You're the statistician,
Yeah, I'd have to look up. All right, I would agree with you on that sense. Does she need to be back in the title picture? No. It does make a good story, at least. Like, I'm upset I wasn't in the title picture, so I'm coming back and I'm attacking the two that are. I'm okay with that. But at the same time, it'd be nice if somebody else who wasn't already like a title contender maybe got a shot every now and then.
A legitimate shot. Not they get a title match. You already know the answer of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like the believability of this person can win this title. Oh, well.
Yep. Well, Kidder, unless you got anything else, I finished the beer that I started in a future episode. So
and that's funny because you've been out, but I've been out since before the future, and I haven't gone back to the future to try and get more booze. So again, we've just been sitting here. My mouth is getting a little dry. I'm parched. I need a beverage. This would be great. So if I could have a beverage right now, but no beverages. So I guess until the next time, which when will the next time be there, Howie Blues?
Well, it depends on how quickly I get this up. So
okay.
I'm hoping to get it fast because we're recording this on a Friday night. Saturday night, episode 2 goes live.
Ah, we're dropping it on a Saturday. All right.
Yeah. So dropping it on a Saturday, and then if I can, this will either go up Sunday or Monday. So episode 3. So that would be the next. So which would be the next Saturday.
Sweet. So we can do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Which hey, for all of you who stuck through this bonus episode 3 is a good one. There's some good stuff in there. Real good stuff. Episode 4 is a little but
do we want to tell them? No, we're not going to tell them.
Well, I was going to say episode 4 is the night after the was recorded the night after the
Sioux loss,
UND
right?
fighting Sioux. Yep.
Yeah.
And so you and I try the best we can to be energetic and excited and into the show, but you can tell we just don't have it because we're both tired and drained at that point.
Yeah.
So it's kind of I as I've been listening through that one, editing that, you can just tell it's like the guys just aren't on tonight. They're trying. They're trying so hard, but it's just not there.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. Give her all she's got.
So, but there's some great episodes coming up. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this bonus episode of Beer, Blues, and BS. And get her unless you got anything else. Nah, this is a bonus episode.
Everybody knows where the cheap plugs are. Like Facebook and Twitch and Spotify and YouTube and Podbean. Click the description.
Yeah,
it's bonus.
All of those.
That's bonus, baby.
That's bonus. Right. It's a bonus episode. You guys know where to find us. So until next time, we'll catch you down the road.